Crime is contributing to Detroit's decreasing population, according to a poll. We asked people what they thought.
According to the 2010 census, Detroit's population fell to a little more than 713,000. That is the lowest since 1910, when it was at 466,000.
A poll commissioned by the Detroit News and funded by the Thompson Foundation found that the lack of police is Detroit's biggest crime problem, and that in 5 years, 40% of residents are expected to have moved from the city. We've asked people in the city what they thought.
A recent poll shows that Detroit's biggest crime problem is that the lack of police, and 40% of the residents are expected to move out of Detroit within 5 years. What are your thoughts?
40% of total population of Detroit, they're going to be out of Detroit because of the crime rate?
Yeah, and the lack of police is the reason of the crime rate.
I don't really think that lack of police. I see a lot of police going around here, and I think it's not that bad here, that people actually need to move out of here.
That's something I could see happening. The police force here in Detroit is not well supported, I think, by people that are higher up. So they go to the wayside, and I personally feel that the people that matter the most in society are the ones that are mostly underpaid.
Could you see yourself being one of the ones, the 40% leaving Detroit in 5 years?
Honestly, yes.
I think it's horrible. The city is so corrupt. I don't know, there's big changes that city council needs to make. I think they all should be gone, to be completely honest. Detroit has a lot of potential, but I mean, more residents moving out of the city would be devastating, absolutely devastating. And it's not surprising that 40% of crime is due to a lack of police, because police are being laid off. So I'm not shocked.
Could you see yourself being one of the 40% within the next 5 years to move out, seeing that you're a college student here at Wayne State in Detroit?
I love Detroit, but I'd like to move to a different city for grad school or just for, career reasons or whatever. But Detroit is definitely somewhere I'd like to come back to at the end of the day. I mean, the homes in Boston, Edison are beautiful. I mean, you can raise a family there, and they're affordable, Detroit's not a bad place.
I don't know technically about how many police are, actually working for Detroit, but I know that the police can only do so much. There's only a certain extent that they can reach. There's a lot going on in Detroit. I know not a lot of it is good, and I think a part of the crime rate is because there's a corrupt aspect of our police force, which is sad. But I mean, the police can only do so much, and their reach is only so far. But if we want to revamp the city of Detroit, then there's going to be so much more that we have to do, not only tackle the police force.
So, do you have hope for the city of Detroit?
I do. Oh, definitely. I love the city, and I love going here, and I love seeing the different parts of the city as much as I can. And I do feel like there's hope. I know it kind of seems bleak at the moment, but Detroit is getting up there little by little, and so I do have hope for the city.
I think it's sad. I wish that Detroit would, start growing and not shrinking. So I'd like to see Detroit make a comeback, not, keep declining.
Do you have hope for the city of Detroit?
Absolutely. I love Detroit. I think it's great. I think it's the best city in the world. Or it could be anyway, It just takes people wanting it, wanting it to be the best city in the world.
I think that if Detroit wants to maintain their population, that they need to get a better police force. And if they're not, then they have no one else but themselves to blame for people wanting to move out and go into safer communities.
I don't blame the people. I mean, I live in Detroit, but I don't see any of the crime. I live actually at UT, but my parents are scared about me living here, and they're always scared about me going out at night, things like that. And a lot of people do. A lot of my friends have moved out because of crime around their area, things like that, and I understand their concern. Thoughts?
I feel like people have been moving out of Detroit for a while, and then people move back in, because I live in Woodbridge, and that's considered one of the most like new developing, growing communities in the whole area right now. It's growing really fast, and I mean, it's a college town right now, but there's also people that have been living there their whole lives. It's just like, my parents met down here. Like, people leave, but people stay too, you know. It's like.
So how do you feel like the crime affects you?
I mean, it really doesn't, because where I live, I can call the Wayne State Police, and they'll be there in, you know, record time. But if I lived in the rest of Detroit, I'd probably be upset because you call the police, they don't show. So.
The poll also found that 49% of Detroit residents do not feel safe in their neighborhoods.
Even though some people show concern about the poll, many people are still loyal to the city and hopeful for its future. I'm DeVinnia Moore, and we're YNN Logan Network, where we bring you the younger side of the news.